Happy Saturday, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Redhead Boy Podcast, hosted by me, Harry. Hope everyone's enjoying the glorious sunshine today. Yeah, I enjoyed it earlier, to be fair. It was super nice to walk along the beach. Of course, there's lots of people out, which was not a shocker. And also, I got to enjoy some very delicious pizza, which is always good. But today's episode is going to be another WandaVision episode, and it's me doing like a watch along episode. So me recording as I watch the new episode of WandaVision, which is titled Previously on WandaVision. So, without further ado, let's crack on with that. You guys enjoy. And here we go. Start the episode. That Marvel music. Ba 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 da ba ba da ba ba da ba. Now, to be honest, guys, I have sat down and watched this episode last night. So I've seen it already, but I thought I'd do a cheeky episode of me watching it and reviewing it at the same time. Bop, 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 bop. It's going all purple. Oh, this is where we see Agatha's origin story. Set in 1693. We got some witches, bitches, we got some witches. Damn. Now, when I first watched this, I thought she was going to end up getting burnt to death because she's a witch, but it ends up being like a witch. Other witches are trying to take her power away. Yeah, so she's tied up, surrounded by these other women of a witch that are witches. I watched a another YouTuber and stuff review this, and he said he didn't see the point of the origin story of Agatha, but I think it was pretty cool, to be fair. And this bit that comes in a second is fucking dark as fuck. Yeah, dark as fuck. So they end up shooting their powers at her to kill her, but then but then she, Agatha, absorbs their energy. It's really fucked up. And the head witch of the group ends up being her mother, which is even more twisted. Super twisted. Crazy twisted. Catherine Hahn is great. I didn't realise how much of a good actress she was, because the only thing that I've seen her in is in comedies. This looks really painful as well. They're shooting their powers at her and it's meant to kill her. And then eventually she ends up absorbing their power and they end up turning into corpses. They end up turning all wrinkly and dead and shit. Yeah, Jesus. It's proper dark. Seriously, if you could see what I'm watching, if you're watching it along with me, it's proper dark. I know I shouldn't laugh, but it's just twisted. Yeah, it's just twisted. And then her mother's trying to kill her. Imagine trying to kill your own daughter. Must be really fucked up. Agatha must be really fucked up, to be fair. And these witches are slowly turning into corpses, like groaning like zombies, as they still carry on shooting their powers. as she's absorbing them both. Damn. Some people are dead. They are dead. Fucked up. Super fucked up. Crazy fucked up. Yeah, now she's absorbing her mother's power. She's turning into turning into more and more of an old lady. Jesus. I just think it's fucked up. Christ. So crazy. Yeah, she ends up pinching her mother's brooch off her dead corpse, as you do. Here we go, we're diving back into what was happening last week. Hmm. I love her sassiness. It's really funny. It's funny. Do 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 do. It's an Agatha, love it, do. It's been Agatha all along. After last week, I really struggled to get her her song out of my head. Who's been messing up everything? It's been Agatha all along. Finds herself locked in this dungeon of hers with a protection spell around the room. See, this is really interesting because when she first showed up, Scarlet Witch, I didn't really, or Wanda, I didn't really see her as a witch. But now they're proper leaning into her being a witch, which is really interesting. And we don't we don't call her we don't call Scarlet Witch. We don't call Wanda Scarlet Witch yet, but people have been because of the comics. And yeah, and we start to find out how she ends up gaining that name at the end of this episode. But I really like this episode that we dive into finding out more about why Wanda has done this, created the hex in the show, and I like the way old Agatha uses her powers to find this out, sort of to go back in time for Wanda to relive certain sections of her life to see why she's doing this and why she is so powerful to be able to take over this entire town. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Also, I think this episode is really clever in, as in, like filling in the gaps for people that haven't seen the other MCU and stuff, and little bonus things that we didn't know as as M- MCU fans. But yeah, here right now, old Agatha's shown off her magic to to Wanda. Yeah, she's obviously deeply fascinated in how Wanda's able to conjure up so much power to take over this town, which is interesting. Yeah, she obviously wants to figure out how she's doing this. Yeah, She's obviously a bit desperate. Yeah, she wants to know Wanda's secret. Oh my god. I forgot the rabbit ate the bird. Oh fuck. Agatha's bashing her up against the walls, as you do. Doop, doop, doo, 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 doo. So through this episode, Agatha helps Wanda figure out how she managed to do this. I think it's sort of as a way for Agatha to try and figure out how she could become that powerful, or maybe even take Wanda's powers away, I guess. Yeah. So she's at the moment she's opening these doors into different sections of Wanda's life. This first door, to me, is the fo- is the most interesting one. This first door that they're just about to go through. Also, Agatha says a great line where she goes, "Now it's time to look at some real reruns." Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's funny that they still link into the to Wanda's love of sitcoms and TV. And Wanda's doing this to save the kids, to save Billy and what's her name? Billy and I can't remember the name of the other kid. Anyway, yeah, see, this was cool. So they've just gone into a room and they're in Wanda's home country in Jokovia, Jokovia, and it's Wanda's mum and dad, which we never saw any of this before. So I think it's interesting that we're getting a time to refresh or dive into more into these characters. And you see them opening a suitcase and it's full of old sitcoms. And they use these old TV shows to practice their English, which is a cool idea to be fair. Cool to be fair. And we see the little old Wanda's brother as a little kid, and then Agatha pushes the adult Wanda and she becomes the kid Wanda and we see her as a little girl. Yeah, it's cool. Really clever. Do, 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 do. It's obviously clear that Wanda and Pietro had a great relationship with their parents. You see Wanda at this time, Wanda's mum, looking out the window and seeing the conflict in the country that obviously eventually affects them deeply, which we all know and we will all know soon. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. These are super cute family, to be fair. Now they're watching Jan, old Wanda's favorite show, which is Dick Van Dyke, the old classic sitcoms. So I guess now they're sort of leaning into telling us why she ended up creating this world centered around sitcoms because she watched them with her parents, and obviously that these were a safe place with her parents. So that's what Wanda ends up doing. She's created her safe place where she feels safe, I guess. Fuck! Go. That made me jump. And I've seen it already. So a bomb has just gone off and it's blown up their entire house. And Wanda and Pietro are alive, but the parents have been crushed to death. Later on in the episode, we see a missile and it has the classic Stark Industries logo on it. And we we know a bit about this story because that's why Pietro and Wanda become become superheroes or supervillains to start with because they want to take revenge on Stark Industries. Yeah, so they end up hating Tony Stark because that's why their parents had died because of war and because of Stark Industries weapons. Yeah, it's really good to be fair to get the show fleshed out, proper fleshed out. Bless. The Dick Van Dyke story is still going on. Okay, let's skip through and go to the next one. So we've gone into another door, Agatha and Wanda, and this is showing them how they join Hydra and how Wanda gains her powers from Loki's staff from the Mind Stone, the same thing that powers Vision, or did power Vision, the one that is the real Vision that was alive. So we see Wanda in some very ratty looking clothes. And she's in some sort of laboratory room with Loki's staff and starting a experiment of her trying to interact with the Infinity Stone, which is the Mind Stone. So yeah, she ends up walking, trying to touch the staff, and it goes all well of what we see. It goes all yellow, and something goes into Wanda's eyes. Well, it goes from blue to yellow. Yeah, so through this through this, it's interesting that Agatha's trying to find out how Wanda got so powerful, and we don't really know that, to be fair. So this is a real good way of the audience finding out more about how Wanda works. So now we're in the Avengers compound after, not long after, his brother, her brother, Pietro died. And she's watching Malcolm in the Middle. I love Malcolm in the Middle, such a classic show. Bryan Cranston, before he became the famous Walter White, I am the one who knocks. And we see an interaction of Wanda and Vision, which is nice because it's sort of fleshing out their relationship, which we didn't really get much. We got a little bit. Um, I don't know if it was in Endgame or Infinity War when they're in Edinburgh together. uh, I wouldn't mind rewatching Malcolm in the Middle, to be fair. It's a good show. And it's funny because Vision doesn't really have humor. So he's asking questions to Wanda about how the comedy works. Yeah, it's nice that they've used this episode to flesh out things, to flesh out Wanda's backstory, and to flesh out their backstory of the Wanda and Vision's relationship. Let's skip through a little bit here. So we're on the third door, and we see Wanda walk in, and she's in the sword. Is it sword or sword? Um, base that we saw in a previous episode, and we see Wanda walking in to go and see Vision's body, and asking the bloke at the desk if she can see him. Sorry about if you can hear sirens in the background. I got my windows open because, as you guys know, it's a super nice day today, so that's why I got my windows open. So Wanda's trying to get in to see Vision and to hopefully get permission to bury him because obviously that was her lover and that was her life partner and her boyfriend, husband, or whatever, really, her loved one. This show is just getting better and better, and it's so well shot, so cinematic for a TV show. Kevin Feige and the team at Marvel have done such a great job with this show. I can't wait until um, Falcon and the Winter Soldier that comes out in March, late March. Here's Dick. Here's the guy. Oh, not Dick. Mr. Hayward, the president of Sh not Shield, Sword or Sword maybe. I don't know. I keep forgetting, or I keep messing it up. So he's just let Wanda in to see Vision's body that's being worked on or trying to be put back together, like some sort of chop, like some sort of repair room that they're trying to repair him. So, and the thing that's interesting is we see this and we think Wanda is going to take Vision's body. Oh, bless her. She gets really upset about this, which obviously you would, wouldn't you? If you saw your loved one in pieces. Well, if we saw our loved one in pieces, we'd probably end up throw up. So the president of Sword is just looking at Vision as a piece of property, as a very, very expensive piece of property. I th I think he says 8 billion worth of vibranium, which is the strongest metal in the MCU, the same metal that Captain America's shield is made from. But the thing that's interesting is that we think Wanda's gonna take Vision's body, but she doesn't. She doesn't, which is interesting. So obviously, the footage that he shows the team previously of Wanda taking the body is bullshit. It's made up. Anyway, let's skip through here. So we're like over 30 minutes in, and Wanda has said goodbye to Vision's body, and she's driven into Westview, the normal Westview, and it's a real drab sort of dump of a town that has definitely seen better days. Uh, and we see the ordinary but recognizable faces that we've seen within the hex that Wanda ends up creating. So Wanda pulls up to this empty plot of house and she opens this map that's got a heart on it. And it's obviously a plot that Vision bought for them to build a house. Bless. It's completely empty. And she's on the ground, she gets upset and she ends up losing her shit and loads of her red power go everywhere. And obviously this is how she creates the hex, how she manages to create the hex. You see the house starting to build up from the ground up, how she starts to create the beginnings of the hex and taking over this entire drab looking town. I have to admit, she does make the town look a hell of a lot better than it did before in the normal world in the MCU. Yeah. Yeah, and the interesting bit is that she creates a version of Vision with her powers, so not with his body, but with herself, and she creates her own vision of Vision, brings him back, but with just her powers. Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, damn. They definitely have set Wanda up as a definitely way more powerful than before. Like crazy powerful. I I never thought she was this powerful to do what she's been doing in this show. So it definitely makes her as a character more interesting. Because I didn't really find her hugely interesting as a character. So that's what I really love about this show, that it's really fleshing out the characters that didn't really get much of a setup in the films. So Wanda and Vision, bless. You see how their sitcom story started. This bit's cool as well. You see the stage of the TV show, because Elizabeth Olsen said in the first two episodes that were Dick Van Dyke and Bewitched inspired, they shot on a soundstage, and you see the soundstage in this episode as Agatha's clapping in the background. Clever. It really is clever. Who's been messing up everything? It's been Agatha all along. Christ, go rescue the kids. Wanda's just rushed out of the house, and Agatha's got the kids. Billy and is it Billy and Jamie and Catherine Hahn is Agatha is definitely supporting a very witchy looking outfit. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. And this is an interesting line. She just called her and that makes you wonder the Scarlet Witch. So this is where we get her name from, her comic book name, Scarlet Witch, which is cool. Yeah, which is cool. And I bet loads of more comic nerds lost their shit about this. Now, the credits are rolling, but there's also a little bit at the end, a post-credit scene. So here we go, we jump to that. And we see the president of Sword looking outside the hex. he goes into this tent and he says, "We took this thing apart and we put it back 3 times, and we then end up seeing a missile, the missile that Wanda chucked back out of the hex, and then we see next to it is the body of Vision, this very white, ghostly looking version of Vision, and they take the like leftover power that Wanda had on the drone that she chucked back, and they power up Vision. So the real life Vision, but he definitely doesn't look like what he used to look like. So they're obviously in the final episode, in episode 9 next Friday. We're gonna see the Vision that's been made in the hex, and the old Vision that's been powered by um, Wanda's powers, the White Vision, at the end in the post-credit scene, battle it off. Uh, yeah, Marvel have finally got round to using that old superhero trope where the goody versus a bad version of himself. So yeah, that's gonna be some serious, awesome comic book television right there. So, guys, I hope you have enjoyed watching WandaVision along with me chatting away. Hope you guys equally enjoyed the episode or even enjoyed it more. To be fair, I did really enjoy this episode. I don't think it's my favourite episode, but I love that they used Agatha as a great way of showing us more information, like using Agatha as a way of giving us exposition, dialogue, and showing us more detail behind how Wanda got her powers and how she created the hex, and a bit more about Vision and her relationship. So yeah, I super enjoy this show, and I can't wait for the finale to see what happens. So thank you guys for listening to this episode, and yeah, thanks very much. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and until next time, you guys have a good one.